A lot of questions related to planning, and almost every software team has the similar questions. When you can deliver this feature? How many user stories we can include to the new sprint, for example? Why the last iteration was so overloaded? We are working more than 8 hours every day. I would like to share during my presentation my personal experience in the companies and several projects. Let's go to the Agile and Scrum methodology. Scrum methodology recommends a story point estimation. Who uses story point estimation in your projects? Only Vladimir? No? Who knows about story point, how it works? Not so many. In this case, I can explain it very, very briefly. Story points provide the hour estimation not to be accurate. It should be consistent. We need to compare the one user story from each other. For example, this user story like XL t-shirts, and this is very, very small. It's maybe some minor changes. It's like a S size t-shirt. When engineers think of an estimate, they need to be comparing the story to other stories in the past in order to evaluate inconsistency. And story point and task hours serve different purposes at different times, so we should avoid relating them to one another. You can read a lot of books and internet articles about how we need to estimate in story points, and in most our projects now, we are estimating our user stories in story points level. I tried to implement this real story point estimation in my projects several times. And it might look simple, but in fact, it's not like that in real life. You have experienced the typical problems about that. The first one, you need to explain to everyone how the story point estimation works properly. Not only your team members, all stakeholders in the project, your managers, the customer managers need to know how it works. And they need to understand it and use properly. The second challenge for this, people are different, and their perception is different too. I can share my personal example with MuleSoft team. When we discussed the one user story, one developer estimated as 10 story points, the other one for 4 story points. I tried to clarify why it's so different, because I don't know. And during the conversation, I understood they meant the same effort for this user story, only 2 days. They are confusing only about the story point scaling. And the third point, it's more related to us, to consultants. Changes in team roster. If someone go out and some newcomers go to your team, you need to return the step 1, explain the scale of story point. In which team in the last half of year you experience some changes in team roster? Someone out, someone new? Not so many. And then this is how we manage it. My answer to this question is simplify and start estimation in astronomical hours. Don't try implement a story point if you never tried to estimate your work previously. It would be like try to go to the space from this ground immediately without any preparation. I tried it several times with different teams in different companies, and it looks like that. I try to jump, and after that I'm going down. A lot of effort spent, but value is nothing. At the first time, estimating in hours and go to the space from the stairs and try to go to the first steps. The first one, engage the whole team in planning and estimation process. It's a typical mistake for managers and dev lead. If you start planning with manager, Scrum, and dev lead together, we will create the brilliant plan, but it would be only your plan. Other team members didn't participate in the estimation process and don't usually agree with their peer plan. So, if a team wasn't on time with delivery, it would be also only your problem. The second step, it's a trusted environment. What I mean? It's very hard to make a commitment when you are not sure about the amount of work. For example, the user story is not groomed properly, you are junior developers and don't have a lot of expertise on that, or maybe you experience the problems with the planning previously, and you are not good on it. At the beginning of the planning session, you need to explain every teammate that estimation, it's only prediction. It's like a weather forecast. I know only one approach how to estimate the task exactly. Do you know about that? It's finish this task, of course. Take enough time to the sprint planning. According to methodology, for 2-week sprint, recommended organize a session from 4 to 8 hours. Of course, with breaks. In my team, we organized it usually in such way. We're gathering all together in the morning, including product owner, include not only developers, only QA engineers, business analysts, and product owner and architects and dev lead. Explain the first, our sprint goal. We identify which user story covered the sprint goal. What is business need of that? Why it should be implemented exactly in this iteration, not many. And after that, we have a break, a couple of hours. In this time, team investigate how we can implement it. They're thinking about that. They're estimating their task in hours, and the rest, of course. We go together in the second part of the session. In the second part of the session, we observe the overloaded or underloaded for every team member. And based on that, we reassign the task, reprioritize the feature. At the end of the day, we have a plan which support all team members and everyone believe it because it's created together. It looks like a silver bullet to solve all your problems with sprint planning and task estimation, but in real life, the process is much harder. What typical challenges will we experience? We need to realize that we lack the experience for proper work estimation. On the one hand, developers are typically big optimists. At the other hand, the managers are afraid to lose their jobs if something will not be delivered on time. But we need to train the skills, and we have a possibility to train the skills every iteration. Like you preparing your muscles to run a marathon, you need to train this skills to estimate your works. And the first, it's simple to start estimate in hours. The second challenge, we are typically creating a plan based on the ideal world. I had such an experience with one team. After the planning session, we had a lot of free hours for developers and QA, but we didn't manage our work on time. It works like your commute from home to office. Imagine, you're home 30 kilometers from office, you are driving by car, speed limit 60 kilometers per hour, and how much time you need to take to commute? Theoretically, it's 30 minutes, of course. And typically, the team members try to estimate it for 30 minutes. But we will have such obstacles. For example, traffic jams. In software development, it's dependency. For example, traffic lights, vacation of your team members, traffic accidents, wrong implementation, sick leaves, something like this. So you can be late at work. You can be assertive and try to go to the office in 30 minutes, but I strongly recommend you include these obstacles to your estimation. Try to utilize every hour. It's a very bad practice from the previous age of the project science. You definitely wouldn't be on time. Your team would be overloaded, and you will be on stress. Believe me, I had such mistake a lot of times. And we can observe the real case from my two teams. I call this Team U and Team C. And where is the plan better? What is the idea? For example, this is almost 100% all team members utilized. And for this case, we utilized only 44%, 16% for these developers. This team didn't deliver as all time because of dependencies, because something lack of requirements, because of something wrong during the implementation. Yeah, but it's a very good team. Let's sum up my presentation. Avoid planning alone. You got your personal plan, but the team doesn't believe in it. Improve the whole team estimation skills. Start estimation with hours. Don't think about story points at first. In my experience, after the several sprints, the team will be understand these hours not like astronomical hours, like something theoretical, and it would be relative to story points. And of course, don't forget about mistake. Estimation is a part of the learning process of a team. You can get better and better from one sprint to another. And then your dream is to conquer space with your team. And I really appreciate all my team members who support me every day for trust and open mindset, my Mules of team.